Riverside County Public Defender's Office, Paulette Garthwaite and Allison Lowe. Rebecca is represented by attorney Jeff Moore. And if that name sounds familiar, it might be because a few years ago he represented Louise Turpin, the mother convicted with her husband of abusing her own children. And today, Moore asked the judge to change the location of the trial.
Note that the allegations, at least to my understanding, arose in the area of Catazon, which is typically in the vicinage of the Banning Courthouse. It would be my position that this case is properly heard in the Banning Courthouse under the standing rules of the County of Riverside Superior Court.
It was met with the judge saying he needed to file a motion, but as of now, the next date both will be seen in court will be on the 16th of September at the Riverside Hall of Justice for what the judge said was a felony settlement conference, which is a meeting between the prosecution and defense to summarize the case, including potential evidence and legal strategies. Afterwards, preliminaries are set to start on the next day on the 17th. Still, till then, this case has caught the attention and hearts of so many.
I cry every day. I have never been so tired. I am like so tired, it almost feels like he's my blood. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is really affecting me because it's a baby. And anybody would have loved him. Anybody would have took him and really cared and loved him.
Now, the next time we'll see both Jake and Rebecca Haro appear in court will be in less than 2 weeks on the 16th. Here in Riverside, I'm Brett Rosen, NBC Palm Springs.
Our thanks to Brett for that report. Now, this is not Jake Haro's first issue with the law. He was charged in 2018 after nearly beating his daughter to death. At a news conference last week, the Riverside County District Attorney accusing the judge who sentenced Haro in that case of being responsible for baby Emmanuel's death.
We wanted to understand how a judge could unilaterally decide to give Jake Haro what amounted to be a slap on the wrist. We've been investigating and learned what happened in that case and how prosecutors also let him remain free even while after multiple violations. NBC Palm Springs' Mary Strong has the story of how repeated decisions by the courts and prosecutors allowed Jake Haro to remain free with tragic consequences.
Jake Haro's story begins nearly 7 years before the death of his 7-month-old son. In that time, prosecutors and a local judge both had opportunities to keep him behind bars. Instead, he was free until it was too late.
The warnings came years before baby Emmanuel's death. In 2018, Jake Haro was arrested for abusing his 10-week-old daughter, Carolina, leaving her permanently bedridden with cerebral palsy. In 2023, he pled guilty to the charges. Prosecutors wanted him in prison. Instead, a visiting judge from San Bernardino County, who has since retired, Judge Dwight Moore, sentenced him to probation and suspended a 6-year prison term, calling it a, quote, very large hammer over the defendant's head. That decision was supposed to deter Haro from future crimes, but court records showed that instead of staying clean, he kept racking up new charges while staying out of custody. In July 2024, Haro was arrested for violating probation. Soon after, he was charged as a felon in possession of a gun and ammunition. He quickly posted $60,000 bail and walked free again. The district attorney's office appeared in court at least 3 times while Haro was out. Each time they allowed hearings to be delayed. In July of this year, Deputy DA Connor Rathbun told the court he had no opposition to moving the hearing to September. Weeks later, prosecutors say Haro murdered his infant son, Emmanuel.
Mr. Haro should have been in prison at the time that this crime happened, and if that judge had done his job as he should have done, Emmanuel would be alive today.
I reached out to the Riverside County DA's office, and their written responses tell a more complicated story. They say Haro pled directly to the court, giving the judge control over sentencing. And once a defendant pleads directly to the court and the judge renders a sentence, the district attorney's office does not have the ability to overturn that ruling. We made our objections clear, but the final decision rests with the court. I also asked why they didn't oppose bail when Haro was arrested for his probation violations in July. They said the decision to continue the case rather than proceed with immediate detention was made by the court. Still, critics say finger pointing won't bring accountability.
We do have a body, the CJP, the California Commission on Judicial Performance, that is the body that disciplines judges, but it's for ethical violations. So unless it can be proven that perhaps this judge had some sort of bias or did not disclose a relationship with the defendant, I see that it would be extremely unlikely that the judge could be disciplined by the state commission.
In the end, judicial power largely stops with the judge, and that's why experts warn the public may be the only safeguard.
Judges are very powerful. That's why it's important that the governor appoints good judges, and that's why it's important that when there are judges who are up for election, that people do their due diligence and make sure that they make informed decisions in terms of who they're voting for.
For now, the DA blames the judge. The judge isn't responding, and the fact remains, a 7-month-old boy is gone, and the system designed to protect him failed.
Jake Haro remains behind bars awaiting trial for the murder of his son. It's still unclear whether the district attorney's office will conduct an internal review of how his earlier cases were handled. I'm Mary Strong for NBC Palm Springs. Back to you.
There is a petition drive to get something on California's ballot. It's aimed at protecting children in the most dangerous of circumstances, and that drive is underway tonight. It's called Emmanuel's Law. It's named after 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, whose remains are still unaccounted for tonight. Lawmakers say the case exposed critical gaps in the state's child welfare system. The measure would require the immediate removal of children from the custody of any parent convicted of abuse. Under the bill, kids would first be placed into foster care or with safe family members, but only after strict background checks and with close oversight from Child Protective Services and law enforcement.
Let's take a break from the headlines tonight, give you a live look outside our Agua Caliente casino camera in Rancho Mirage. A nice shot of the pool right now. It looks like the palm trees are pretty still, which we like to see, although we know right now and a lot of today was extremely muggy and uncomfortable out there. Your current weather conditions right now, 94 degrees in Palm Springs, so we have dipped below the 100 mark for the evening, although look at that humidity, 45%. That's what we saw for most of the day as that tropical storm Lorena near the central Baja area is impacting our humidity levels. Tomorrow, the high temperature expected to be 97. So the good news is at least we're not over 100 degrees and extremely humid. Temperatures relatively mild for this time of year, but still feeling the effects of that storm. Let's look at your radar right now. Speaking of the storm, you can see there at the bottom of the Salton Sea, a bit of radar activity in the Imperial Valley and into Arizona. But not really anything that we'll see here for the Coachella Valley. That chance of thunderstorms for today really dissipated. We didn't see any sprinkles, and there's a slight chance for tomorrow, but not something that we should be worried about. Your Comfort Air 3-day forecast, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at the peak 102 on Sunday. But I've got good news for next week. We'll have that story coming up in just a few minutes. And in more local news tonight, one of the desert's most prominent philanthropists has died. Harold Matzner was an entrepreneur, a humanitarian, and most notably the former chairman of the Palm Springs International Film Festival and Film Awards. Matzner donated more than $85 million to Coachella Valley nonprofits. He championed healthcare, education, and the arts, and he also funded the Matzner Tank Pavilion building at the General Patton Memorial Museum in Desert Center. He died today at Eisenhower Medical Center after a brief illness. He was 88 years old.
All right, coming up next tonight, a Shark Tank style competition is coming to the Coachella Valley, but this one involves nonprofits competing for big funding.
Welcome back. A Shark Tank style showdown is coming to Palm Desert. The Desert Fast Pitch will feature local nonprofits delivering powerful 3-minute pitches for a shot at winning some major grant funding. It's hosted by the RAP Foundation's NPO-centric program. The main event includes judges, audience members. They all choose winners and support their nonprofit funding. Tonight was a workshop night to practice the nonprofit pitches, all leading up to the big event.
And we give away $1 million in funding each year, so I'm very proud of that. And then we teach nonprofits everything they need to grow and go and scale and ultimately be sustainable.
It honestly provided a lot of training for us to learn how to be able to present what we do, how to approach funders, how to speak more clearly to the community. So that's great, as well as the exposure.
That main fast pitch event starts at 5:30 on October 2nd. It's at UC Riverside's Palm Desert campus.
Giving you a live look tonight from our Indian Wells Golf Resort camera. Gorgeous shot right there as the moon is illuminating parts of that mountainside right there. We've got details on your end of week forecast. That's right after this break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Let's take you outside for a live look. Our Walter Clark Highway 111 camera. A pretty still night out there, which we like to see. And let's jump to today's high, 101 in Palm Springs. Look at that record. Just last year, we were 116 degrees. So thankfully, not feeling that out there today. Your high temperatures across the valley. Looks like we peaked at 102 in Thousand Palms. In Palm Springs, of course, cooling as we hit some higher elevations. Big Bear City, 72 degrees. Your low temperatures for this evening hanging around 80 degrees, upper 70s for most of the Coachella Valley. Cabazon seeing 70 degrees for our overnight temperatures. And our wind gusts, as we saw at Rancho Mirage, relatively calm. Looks like the gustiest we'll see is up in the high desert, Yucca Valley, 14 miles per hour. But a pretty nice night, just sticky and muggy from that tropical storm Lorena, again in the central Baja area, which is impacting us. There was a potential for thunderstorms today. You see the dew points there. That's why it's feeling so muggy. That chance, though, has really lowered, and on Friday we'll start to dry out the weekend. Look at your 7-day forecast brought to you by Comfort Air. The humidity drops off, and so do the temperatures, maybe seeing the middle 90s by the middle of next week. We'll be right back.
NBC Palm Springs Sports Desk with Tim O'Brien. Brought to you by Agua Caliente Casinos.
Well, the Friday night lights shine a little brighter one night early this week with 4 games on the slate. We'll take a look, of course, Xavier Prep, the Saints hosting Serrano, and Yucca Valley coming down the 62 to take on Cathedral City. Those 2 games tonight here in the Valley. Then tomorrow night, a full slate with 6 games across the Coachella Valley. Elsinore at Palm Desert, Palm Springs at Coachella Valley with potentials to be the game of the week. Citrus Valley at La Quinta, Yucaipa at Shadow Hills, Tuckwitz at Rancho Mirage, and Desert Mirage at Desert Christian. Desert Christian, a sneaky 2-0. We'll, of course, have a full recap tonight at 11 o'clock right here on NBC Palm Springs. Now, speaking of Sunday night, it's the premiere of Firebirds Off the Ice, our new weekly 30-minute show going behind the scenes with the Coachella Valley Firebirds. We've interviewed just about everybody from the Firebirds and Acrisure Arena to give you a glimpse of behind the scenes on how it all operates, not only on game day, but behind the scenes year-round when hockey's not in season. You can catch it every Sunday night following the game right here on NBC Palm Springs, and then throughout the season on Saturday nights and on game days on My Firebirds TV on KPSC. Looking forward to that. Hope you enjoy it as much as we are while putting it together. Well, that'll do it in sports. I'm Tim O'Brien.
Brighter Side of the News is brought to you by Fiesta Kia. Discover the all-new Fiesta Kia located in the I-10 Auto Mall.
Definitely on the brighter side here. Tomorrow, National Cheese Pizza Day. Your pie to celebrate the day doesn't have to use the standard mozzarella. You can mix it up with all kinds of cheese. Gouda, Parmesan, Gorgonzola, or even cheddar. So call up your local pizza place and celebrate the day.
You know, I love a veggie pizza, a little bit of everything on there, but cheese pizza, it's a classic. You can't beat it.
Can't beat it. Oh, well said. All right, that's going to do it for us. I'm back here for the news at 11. Please join us then. Good night.